Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be reviewing a very big series which is Heartstopper from volume 1 to volume 6. I won't be reviewing this all individually. I will be doing this as a whole because there's a lot that I want to I will also show some of the book covers because I thought it really cute and wholesome. So I rate this book series 10 out of 10. I enjoyed everything about it, and there's so much beautiful things I love throughout the books, especially specifically the characters. This is book 1, and this is where Nick and Charlie meet. I thought it was really wholesome, I thought it was very cute, and there's not much else to say. There is like illustrations of a lot of hate going on, like with the bullying and not people liking Charlie because he's gay. It is very interesting to see how that is illustrated. So this is book 2. This one is a beautiful cover. This is not my favorite cover, but I have a favorite and it's beautiful. This is where Nick and Charlie start to get to know each other, and there's like a lot of romance going on. I do want to say individually these books are 5 out of 5, majority of them, but with this one, as far as I remember, there was a bit of more conflict, but it's more like, does Nick like me kind of situation. I thought it was really cute. I believe it was between book 1 and book 2. It's kind of that situation. By the way, in the book and in the show, which we'll talk about that in a minute, so we do get a lot of Charlie's sister, which her name is Victoria. And I thought she was really interesting. She's a very funny character. I enjoyed her a lot. But again, not much of the conflict. The bullying does come up, but it's very, very surface level. And it does get dealt with swiftly. And then I think in this book, we do come across, and I think in book 1 too, we come across this specific bully and Charlie's like secret relationship. And then that transferring to Charlie and Nick. And I do relate to some parts of this, like with the bullying, and there's like a lot of different aspects of how, you know, a lot of people just don't like showing certain details of their lives because they're scared of what other people may think and all this sort of stuff. So I do like the tackle of that concept being shown visually, because it is a graphic book, by the way, so you get an idea. That is what it is. So that's volume 2. So this is volume 3. It is very summer vibes. I love it, and it's so sweet. Again, this is one of those ones where all the conflicts are surface level, and we're going to get to volume 6 because volume 6 is where I have the most critique, but we're going to get that in a minute. So this is really good. I don't have much else to say. Oh, and by the way, we do come across Charlie eating disorder, which does come up on page a lot. If you watch the show, you pretty much read the books, but the books have a lot more information and more actually shown on page what's going on in depth and also in detail. So this is one of my most favorite covers. It is so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. I loved everything about this. It's gorgeous. Oh, and by the way, the rain scene happens in this book, if I'm remembering correctly. I liked it very much. It was very emotional. I enjoyed it. So again, it's like I said, the conflict does not come up much on page, and it doesn't get tackled properly. And what I mean by this, it's like something happens, they kind of talk about it, but it's kind of glossed over, and it's like, where is the acknowledgement, where is the maturity in this? It doesn't feel like it's matured enough. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. This is my favorite cover of the whole entire series. Now this one, it's more about Nick and Charlie trying to figure out like university options, everyone's going, and where everyone's life direction is going to pull them. So this is kind of like where this book is at. And what I found interesting is the concept of this, and I was like, I need to see what volume 6 brings. And then when I read volume 6, it was a whole other ball game. It was recently released and I did read it, and I will say this, I really loved it. It is very, very wholesome. However, the same issue applies here, that throughout the entire series, the conflict that happens, like for example, in this one, Nick doesn't know who he is as a person, and he's kind of having conflict moment where he's not sure on where he wants to go for uni and all this, and he was having this issue with his dad, and with Charlie, and I found that interesting. Me and my partner went and watched the movie, and then I had multiple problems with this, and then I decided why not give the book a crack. Now, I understood some critiques because after this book got released and then the movie came after, one of the biggest critiques I noticed after talking to a couple of people is that with the book's version, it actually lays out the conflict. So in the book, it's the same conflict that you see in the movie, but the problem is the movie does not show you everything. When you read the book, it makes sense. So for example, like the fact that Nick's having this problem with his dad and how he wasn't there for him, and then he's responding to Charlie the same way, being desperate, trying to be next to him, being the perfect boyfriend, which I thought that was really wholesome, like the whole concept of the conflict being seen on page. But what annoys me was in the movie, it was trying to play on the college version and emphasize that that was the conflict, when in the book it's not even about that. And when it does come to it, Nick does gradually have like, oh yes, I finally got in, I'm okay, you know, I'm enjoying my life. And then that's when he deals with the biggest conflict of the entire book, which is about his dad. It's like one was a subplot, but it's not major, whereas the movie, it does play that major role. And in the book, it does have like the seasons. And that was a bit inconsistent to me, because it's like, why would you have all the other books have different names for each chapter, and all of a sudden you have seasons? So a really good example of what I'm talking about is, this is volume 2. And this has like a title and it says Kiss, and then it goes into it, and that's what happens. And I've noticed from the 3 and upwards, they don't really have much of that until we get volume 6. And volume 6 speaks in seasons, so it says forever here, and then you have stuff like winter, and that is like the segments in between chapters. And I don't really like that, because the consistency with these chapters and the name of them changed, and it feels like the whole dynamic changed, and it didn't feel like it was for the better. It felt like for the worse, this is what it will become. And the other issue I had with it is, throughout the book, like I said, with the conflict, it's very surface level, it didn't do much. That it went more into the direction of the college being the main issue, and then the subplot being, oh, Charlie and Nick is having issues. And by the way, throughout the whole book as well, is that we learned that a lot of people are having friendship breakups, relationship breakups, kind of thing. And it's because they were maturing and growing up. And in the book, it didn't even have that. It was more like everyone's kind of growing into what options they want to do with their lives and what they want to move into the direction. In the movie, they had this whole breakup segment going on as well, while Nick and Charlie having their own issues, and Nick trying to deal with college, which of course has a lot of issues at once. But what annoyed me the most was, throughout the book, it tells you like a lot of people were worried about relationship breakups and dealing with the whole dynamic, whereas the movie version does emphasize this, but not to a large extent. And the funniest thing is, everyone is telling Nick and Charlie is like they're the best couple, they're gonna be together forever and ever, which I thought that is a sweet sentiment, but it didn't feel super realistic. But it does play onto that fantasy of the story being like a perfect relationship, even though it has realistic conflict to some extent, even though it's not dealing with it properly on the surface. Honestly though, besides all of that, I still love the books. It's so good. I like the idea of the wholesome relationship. It's very uplifting. There are moments where it's a little bit sad. There's a lot of like homophobia going on as well throughout the books. That is the entire book series. I don't have much else to say other than that I highly recommend it. I will always recommend read the books first before watching the show and the movie, because the books are going to give you more details than you will ever get from these shows and movie. Not to say they're bad, and that comes to my basic, and this comes to my final conclusion about the show and movie. They're great, they're fine. I just feel like the book has more in-depth knowledge and information that is worth understanding over the movies and show, because the show and movie does not tell you the whole story, whereas the book does. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done that already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!